Sensitivity is intelligence. With grace and skill, you have abundance. Welcome to the Psychic Hour. Host Kelly Brickle is a psychic medium, numerologist, healer, and teacher. Her passions are learning about the soul and energy. Whether through spirit, emotion, or vibrational numbers, there is always a pathway of information waiting to help. Now, here is your host of the Psychic Hour, Kelly Brickle.
Hello, everybody. Hello. Welcome to the Psychic Hour on Sacred Spiral Network. We have the wonderful Kimberly Meredith on today. She's a medical medium and a healer. And so I'm going to be really excited talking to her about everything from how she got started to channeling to, what she connects to and what she sees and experiences personally with energy. So I'm going to say hello to everyone coming on in. Hello. Oh, we have a shout out from Debbie. Hello, Debbie. Hello, Trudy. And as everyone comes in, hello, pop down your questions and comments, and we'll start the beautiful discussion. So we always start with a topic of the day, and I was really inspired because I just let, things come to me gently. I was inspired to talk about the energy of communication and interdependence. And within this vibration, I feel like it's always the need for connection. We can't do this alone. We absolutely can't within life, within spirit. We can't do it alone. We need to be the channel. We need to be the bridge to bring the beautiful ideas into the world, to bring the inspiration or healing or messages into the world. And then within our own life, because it always mirrors what's going on with spirit and vice versa, we need to put ourselves out there to do it together. I mean, this network is made because of all the beautiful hosts and guests and behind the scenes work. Events are made. Any event that you're a part of that has like this beautiful signature, it's the energy of the crowd. It's the energy of the audience. It's the energy of, the mediums or spirit that nudged in everybody's ear, like, hey, you should go, or hey, you should put this together. Hey, it needs to be on this date. So we're this amalgamation of impressions and ideas and really all these gorgeous stirrings from the spirit world within our own spirit, with our own heart too, as well, with what we can co-create. And I go back to the energy of interdependence because, a lot of times when we are developing, it is a soul journey in a lot of ways. We have to disengage from what we once knew. We have to make sure that we are elevating ourselves and we're shedding. And that sometimes takes a lot of time where it's alone, where we have to cultivate our independence to go, I'm gonna be this, I'm gonna do this, these are my standards, these are my values. I'm gonna turn within, internalize, and as we go forward, the need for us to connect with others to get things off the ground becomes more and more prevalent. Even if we are doing it alone, we need a team. Like, again, spirit guide team, the community of maybe you've met people through classes, whether you are giving classes, whether you are of, community as a classmate. All this comes together, the encouragement, like think about it too. When you connect with others, there are times within your life where there's going to be somebody doing the same work that you do or went through the same thing within their life that you did, or offers you an easier way to get things done. And you go, thank you. I needed that help. I needed that perspective. I needed that type of connection. And we need very different types of connections to sustain us through this life. Sometimes, we think about the basic ones like financial, or sometimes we need a hug or a smile, right? But we need to share energy, whether you're putting your energy into someone or they're putting their energy into you. And that's how we get things done. The spirit world is infusing all this energy into us to create and to promote and to generate things to change around here. And a lot of people have been feeling the energy of change so much, whether it is through, because we're talking about healing on this show, whether it's through healing and feeling like my body doesn't feel the same, my mind doesn't feel the same. Spiritually, I'm in a different place. My emotions don't feel the same. I want different things. Like, we all progress, we all move energy. And those things that are inspired with us do come from other people. Like, whether you've had the realization or you're like, I'll never do the way, my family grew up. I'll never do the way that a friend did that to me. I'll never do it that way again with maybe how I went about, I don't know, my diet or my sleeping choices. Um, Silly things and really serious things, other people have to be the mirror. Like, we can't just be the queen or king of our own universe or the own universe, because my goodness, there'd be no other ways to bounce opinions off of or see things or experience things. We would be the master of the universe with no objection and no growth anywhere in the same as what's going on with our realm, Earth, and how it just catapults us with all these lessons and why we have such complexity in this school. I really do think one of the key ushers of change is relationships, and it doesn't have to be traditional relationships. So embrace that interdependence of how we play and give and bounce energy off each other. Use it to ignite good things and to redefine and strengthen who you are, and use the communication, whether with spirit or with other people around you, to really fuel more energy, if not within the activity of what you're putting out, but in the inspiration of what you're becoming. So I want to say a hi to everybody coming on in again. Hello, Mo, Aspen, Lee, and Iris. Hello, everybody. And we're going to bring in Kimberly Meredith in just a second. So please, everybody, give a warm welcome to her. I'm going to bring her in right now. Hello.
Hi, Kelly. Hi, everybody. Hi.
Hello. I want to make sure I give you a warm introduction for everybody first learning about Kimberly Meredith, or if you know her work. Kimberly Meredith is a world-renowned celebrity, medical, intuitive, mediumship healer, media personality, global influencer, spiritual speaker, and best-selling author who has helped thousands of people from around the world. Following an accident which resulted in 2 near-death experiences, she received miraculous healing gifts from the Holy Spirit. Kimberly's abilities have been scientifically validated by numerous research institutes. In addition to hosting the syndicated radio hit The Medical Intuitive Miracle Show as well, and being a part of the blog talk radio show where Kimberly frequents as a guest on numerous nationally syndicated radio shows and podcasts. Kimberly's book, Awakening to the Fifth Dimension, Discovering the Soul's Path to Healing, is also available everywhere where books are sold in hardcover, paperback, and Kindle forms, and as well as with audio that is personally narrated by Kimberly. There are so many things that she's up to with events and lives. You're always busy and giving, Kimberly. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Kelly. I'm really excited about being here in your community. And I'm just grateful, really grateful on this beautiful Friday that we can all be here together. And however I can serve any of you, I'm really, open here right now and just grateful to be alive.
It goes back to the very beginning, just like the gratitude of the life force. And I'm curious. I'm gonna bounce around with some questions, but you got me thinking straight from the gate. What is life force to you as a healer, as a human being? What is it to you?
Well, ever since I was a kid, I always came from my heart, from the guides, from the angels, even when I was really young. And, these are really exciting times, but painful times we're in right now. And, life force for me, even as a baby, I always had a strong connection with the omnipresent, universal Christ light coming in. And right now, as I said, these are painful, exciting times too, as we're going through it. I feel life force is the energy of God. And I always am just living in that constant state of humbleness and gratitude. And I just stay in that flow always with that energy.
When you were a kid and you felt that just very gentle, natural flow, were you aware of it enough to have a sense of, oh, there's something going on that I can tap into? Or were you just like, oh, this is great, this is life?
Yeah, I always knew and I always sensed that there was something greater than me. And I was always very humbled by it. I've always been humbled by the greater omnipresent. And I'm always now, even when I do something like a healing, where someone will say, I can't believe I've been healed, or I get a message, because I get messages from the left ear from spirit, guides, God, Holy Spirit, or I do the work of healing. I don't ever take any credit for the work.
Yeah. It's so much greater than ourselves, but you show up, so I give you credit for showing up and doing the work. I have to, you know, um, on that level. When did you actually decide on your journey to be a healer and go, I'm going to call myself this, I'm going to let people know that I'm doing this work?
Thank you. When I actually found out that I had the ability with my hands, I exhibited healing abilities when I was a child, but I didn't actually, have the abilities like I do now, was 9 years ago, when I actually was discovered in 2015 by professional scientific researchers that I had the actual confirmed abilities. And then I was told, this has been confirmed. When I started exhibiting these abilities was in around 2015, from my wheelchair in my home. And I was healing people and I healed myself with the omnipresent. So using my body and coming through the energy of my hands. And then I started doing them at expos, and it just gradually started speeding up. And currently, the work is even sped up more now.
I can imagine. In your bio, when I was learning about you, previously, I didn't know that you had 2 near-death experiences. That's a lot. Can you talk a little bit about what happened and how that helped attune or catapult you to where you are now?
Yeah, I mean, the first one was very interesting, to me. Even the second one is still, hard to grasp. Um, the first one, I left my body and I don't know if you've ever heard of people when they're outside of their body looking in, like you're above yourself out. So it's an out of body experience. And that left me, in a wheelchair for over 2.5 years, recovering from that one. And that was very, very hard recovery from that. And I just totally left. I was at the hospital for over 3.5 months, lost my life completely. And I talk about that extensively in the book. And then the second one I had was shortly after I came home from the hospital. I was 99 pounds, still recovering from the first one, and very weak. And I took my American Bulldog out for a walk because there was no one around to help me take him out, and I was having care still. And he lunged towards the gardener because he thought he was going to hurt us, and he actually threw me into the street. And I went unconscious when I hit the back of my head on the pavement.
Wow. Wow. And he woke up in the hospital and
Yeah, the details are in my book, Awakening to the Fifth Dimension. I had pretty severe injuries with that accident. And at that occurrence, after that, I had gone completely into a higher state of consciousness, and my eyes shortly after that started blinking the way they did when I was a child. So when I was little, I had the communication with spirit through my blinking eyes. And then, so shortly after that, about a few months later, I started having code blinks through my eyes and communicating with spirit. And so shortly after that, I wasn't fully recovered of the subdermal hematoma and head, but my communication with spirit started shortly after that, became a trance medium.
did you have any idea of wanting to get into intuition? Because you had, an understanding of life force energy and God, and you sensed a presence about you. But did you ever go, okay, that would be cool to get into one day? Was it completely just out of left field, or have you thought about it?
I never ever thought about being in healing or mediumship, or never. I actually never ever took a yoga class. I was in nursing my whole life. I was brought up pretty poor. We were on food stamps. My mom abused me. My mom was an alcoholic. She took her life when I was young. And I always had to do a lot of jobs to survive. And before the accident, I was working many jobs. And I worked in the entertainment world, which was setting up a lot of shows, television shows, to make them look as real as possible, like hospital sets. And I was really great at it. And I had a wonderful life before the accident, which was beautiful home with a fiance. And I would pray a lot. I would go to church and also temple. I'm half Jewish. And I never was in the healing world or anything like that, and wasn't channeling. I knew I had abilities when I was little, and I had paranormal experiences, but I wasn't looking at having a life of this type of service. I was in hospitals where I worked on the hardest floors, like oncology and ICU units. And I always gave a lot of myself, meaning sacrificed my own self-care to help other people, meaning I dedicated a lot of my life to helping my grandmother, who I had a very close relationship with. And before the NDE, I was working a lot. Like, I don't know if you know what I was a nurse assistant. So I worked like, 3 back-to-back 14-hour shifts. And then I'd go to work on the set, which are long hours. And so I was working a lot.
So had it been always a part of yourself to really surrender, let go, and just show up and give all of yourself?
Absolutely. I mean, I was just the kind of person before this, and still am, characteristic of me, where, like on a hospital floor, when a lot of the nurses that know me, I would be like, we got to keep going. We got to keep the person going. I would take the worst patients, HIV, AIDS, tuberculosis, whatever it is. I don't care. I would be like, I got to help them. I got to help them.
Wow, that's amazing. That's amazing. Is there a story from that time that sticks out to you?
There's certain celebrities that I worked on, and certain, right before my near-death experience, there was, it's in my book. I was the nurse assistant for Elizabeth Taylor, and I was the nurse assistant for Patrick Swayze and Michael Clark Duncan. I don't know if you know him. He's a pretty, and Elizabeth Taylor passed away the night I was there with her. And
Wow.
there were many times where I did get sort of hits of just growing up on floors my whole life, because when I was really, I worked at UCLA as a nurse assistant before I worked at Cedars before my accident. And my younger days, Marlon Brando passed away on the night I was on shift. I used to work the night shift. And I'd always get kind of hits when somebody was going to pass.
Yeah, it's always fascinating to hear about how people experience energy, before and during within their current experience, and how do you experience energy now with like tapping into, I guess, if someone needs help, or if you're like, I need to be here, or I'm just gonna let go and do this, and I find myself in this place. I'm curious.
I'll know if somebody comes to me and they're not well, or, I can see into people pretty fastly if they've got cancer, if they got certain diseases. Called a prophecy psychic and a root cause psychic. And it makes sense to me because of my close relationship and survival instincts as a child, the way I was raised, and how much I believed in God. And even now, I look back at the times I was at the hospital with all the nurses and doctors, and I would say to a doctor, they'd say, oh, that person's got 24 hours to live. And I would hear, no, they're going to live. And I would often say, no, I feel like they're going to be okay. And then later on, doctor would come back and say, they turned around. They're going to make it. And I would say, I thought that was going to happen. But today, even, I'm getting chills right now. Sometimes people come to me and say, I've been told I'm not going to make it. I've got this cancer thing. And they'll tell me certain things. And I'll say, you know what? I think this is going to be okay for you. That's really, Kimberly? Yes. And I will get hits on things like that. And they do turn around. And I'll be in a big group, like I'm going up to NLE Expo, San Francisco, and I'll be in big group settings, and I'll go out through the room. I'm like a puppy dog. I'll smell, like sense things, and I'll find that one person in the room. I'll bring them up on stage, and I'll know exactly the root cause and why they have it and something's going on. And then I also read, and then I'll do the healing.
And that's a lot that comes in now. Yeah. So as a medical medium, it is such a different distinction than just a healer, and whether someone has been trained to assist the body. It's very different. So when did you start scanning, and how do you scan? Just take me wherever you want to go with that. How do you connect and see the body, experience the body?
Thank you, Kelly. It's interesting because I never took any class. I never was taught. I just learned it on my couch one day. I was praying over and over again, God, I don't want to die. I want to live. Please help me not to have this pain. I was so bad. My head was hurting so bad. It was exploding because of the concussions. And I didn't want to take medication anymore. And I was working with this really amazing doctor at Cedars, and he actually passed away. He was like an angel. And I just one morning just said, I don't want this medicine anymore. So I threw it away, and I just kept praying and praying and praying and praying. And I started just to learn when I was saying yes, when I was saying no, and then I was getting these codes. I started just praying over my body and learning how to medically, intuitively do this scanning. And the guides were speaking to me, the angels. And I organically learned the scanning. And then a friend came over. She's a nurse friend of mine. I said, let me do this to you. And I started scanning her, and she's like, this is bizarre, Kimberly. And so, I know, it was like really wild. And she was just like, and I said, did you ever have this? Did you ever have that? And I was like getting messages out of my left ear. It comes to the left ear. And she was like, I did. And I'm like, I'm hearing that you had like something happened to your knee. At that point, it wasn't this evolved, because now I know it's a meniscus tear or hernia or tumor. But at that time, it was just very simple. And she was like, yes. And I didn't even know the word for medical intuitive at that point. I didn't know there was even a name for that. And I was just kind of doing that. And they were teaching me these little beautiful guides, these little beautiful angels. They were teaching me how to do this. And it was just really kind of cute, very endearing. And it just started growing I just was at my house doing it. And then this friend of mine came over, and then I did healing on him, and it was working, and it was healing my head too. And then she said, you need to get a license. And I'm like, a license? And then she's like, yeah. And so then I became a Reiki master. And then we moved a table in my living room. And then he started sending me some clients. And then the word just got out all over that I was having these abilities. And then I was flown to some expos. But it just sort of gradually started evolving because it was meant to happen and spirit wanted it to happen. And the energy is now evolving quickly into other things. I'm learning more about the Elohim code frequencies, and growing more into the fifth dimension is now becoming a higher dimension, which is they're teaching me more about how to teach other people techniques and how to learn how to, like I go now out to the expos, and now I'm doing things about teaching people how to tap in their own guides with the angelic realm, and learning that you too, and many people are learning that they can also tap into their guides and also learn about their signs and symbols and codes.
Yes, there's so much that people are so ready to learn. So have you been thinking about doing a school or more classes where you're like, okay, here you go. It seems like such a strong community. It could go into a school. I don't know.
Yes, you're so correct, and you're so adorable. The shift is rapidly taking control of us, and by 2031, it truly is a vast, beautiful time and awakening. And so I do these things called soul frequency readings now. I still do the medical intuitive readings, which is so important in the healing. And I talk to the other side all the time with the guides. But the soul frequency readings, I do 10 numbers that come in for people that are lined up for the next 9 years. And they actually tell you exactly what's predestined for your life. It's like a storyline that the guides they know. Yeah.
That makes sense. And do you see it in a certain way, like as a timeline, or as like they'll show you certain things, or does it just come at random?
The first 3 numbers are fixed numbers, meaning you came to the world with those fixed numbers. And then they go into, yes, your timeline, your soulmate and soul tie and timeline. And some people call it lifetime. They don't like lifetimes. They like timelines. You're right.
Well, I love hearing it, and I'm a big fan of you talking about numbers.
Yeah.
Whether it's astrology or numerology, we all have these charts. So you've been accessing these certain numbers, almost like a chart for people.
Yes, through the blinking, through the codes and the blinking. I don't do it through cards. I do it through my eyes, and they come in, and I can hear it through my left ear, and they'll do it for your children, for your relationship, through where you're living, working, where you're going, through everything.
So are there like excuse me, is there symbology that has been following these numbers, or yeah, you're nodding, so yeah, please tell me.
They're saying that they want to help us through the most important part of our history, which is the next 9 years.
Yeah, there's going to be a shift in the next 9 years. Have they been talking about the shift? Have they been
Yes.
giving have they been giving certain numbers to showcase what the shift is going to be like?
Yeah, they just keep saying, they're exciting, crazy times historically for us to witness. Um, Painful, but exciting and historical.
Exciting, historical. There's a lot of that. Yeah, there's a lot of that going on right now. The governments, the environments,
Yes.
people like in their personal lives, they need so much healing. People need so much healing right now.
And it's the time to, be supportive. They show me the number 9. The 9 is big for us, which is the symbol of family, community. The sign of the 7, which is the Christ consciousness, spirituality, and calling in love, kindness, not judging, don't sabotage. That's a very important energy frequency.
That makes sense to me. Like sevens and nines go beautifully together in spirituality, and there's a call for people to like really be in touch with their truth right now more than ever. I mean, it's always been a call for that, but we really need to change. Yes, absolutely, absolutely.
When I see you, I see the 7 like right on you. And the 7 also is a sign of Jesus and Christ light.
Let's do it. Let's serve. That's what I say. Let's do it. Get in the frequency. Bring in the Christ consciousness. I'll do my best to conduct.
Yes. Yes, it is. Yes. And so when I do things in person, I love doing Zoom. When I do things in person, I'm really taken over by spirit. I feel my body become very tingly. My lips become purple. Often people will say my pictures look different. My whole
Ah,
aura changes. I leave my
I
body.
can. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I just
Um,
leave. I like totally.
I noticed that too a little bit. It's almost, I've seen you in some pictures, and it's almost like your energy leaves your body, or your energy is not complete because something else comes in. It's very fascinating. I love talking about that in itself. So, do you have certain guides that you're familiar that come in during that time, or are you like, I just back away. I just back away, and away I go.
Yes, Kelly. I noticed it has always started since I came home from the first NDE. I was in the car, and it was really kind of interesting. My fiance was driving me home, and I was in the car, and he looked over at me, and I knew at that point it was already transpiring. And then the first time I did my first event, I was in New York City, and there was like 500 people at the church, and I was laying hands, and that was the second time I felt it. And I was doing healing, and I was looking out at the crowd, and everybody had their hands up, and I was standing at Lourdes, and my feet were in the water,
Wow.
and my lips my friend said were like purple, and my face looked like a ghost. And I was saying the Hail Marys. And I was just like, and then after the event was over, I went, and passed out. And my friend, he's this really cool promoter, producer. He goes, "You were out. You completely passed out." So that's like trance channel. I'm a trance medium. I'm a trance channeler. So I completely go out.
And that's a lot of energy. That's a lot of energy. Yes. My body's like, I need a break.
But the man that I was working on, he had like a fairly large node, and it was gone. And he went, "It's gone," and everyone went, "Yay!" And so I was glad, because New York crowds can be tough.
Yes. Yes, I can imagine a little bit like more cerebral. Do you then have people who feel or know as it's happening? Do they talk to you as it's happening, or do they talk to you afterwards?
The guides or the crowds, the
Oh,
people.
the crowd or the person you're working on, because you mentioned that he was like, it's gone. Like he knew he could feel it.
Oh yeah. I mean, when we're doing, because I'll be up at New Living Expo doing the mediumship and laying on hands healing, most of the time people will come up and they'll feel if there's a node or a tumor or something. We'll feel it before and then after. And so
Wow.
what really the guides, the Holy Spirit, is using me. I'm sort of like a nobody. I'm like just the conduit for the healing. I'm just like I kind of feel like the puppet for it. You're the sort of the triangle of the God, you and me. So after the healing is done and you put your hand over and you feel that it's gone, then you're to say, "I am healed," is so beautiful. And then everybody is so happy. So it's a glorious time. And this is what they want to have happen in the future, that we have this type of beautiful honoring of the healings.
We have so many abilities, and yet they're not taught, with what our understanding of who we can be. But now it's changing. So I'm so excited. Like, you talking about the healing trinity and the healing trilogy, and knowing that we are capable of all these things. It gets me excited. It gets me excited how much better things are going to be. There was a question too up that I think goes in hand. And so, do you do? I'm sure you do a mixture of all of it, but how do you identify and how do you connect? Do you do physical and or mental emotional healing?
Yeah, so the guides, we do all of that. We do a lot of emotional, because emotional causes physical disease. So being a medical intuitive psychic healer, um, I often do the readings. They're either an hour or half hour. And sometimes people will say, "I'm having some emotional issues, but I also feel a little bit sick too." So I'll just do the whole reading together. But then I have to find the root cause of it. And then I also include the healing. When you come on to a reading with me, my guys, like right now, you might be feeling a healing as I'm talking to everybody on the Zoom, because wherever I go, I'm giving healing. I love to heal people, so I'm always giving a healing wherever I'm going. So I
Right.
I love to heal you. So I remember when I was little, my grandmother, I'd always put my hands on her lungs because she had asthma, and I kept her living to like 95 years old.
Wow.
So I
Wow.
start the healing right when you come on, because I love to heal people. That's like my main thing. I love to heal. So that's important. I have it, by the way, you guys, I have a Mother Mary healing group I do for free every once a month on Saturdays, and we honor lots of the saints and the angels. So you're always invited to that for free.
That's cool. That energy really radiates around you. That Mother Mary healing, it really does. So if she's ready to go at all times, everybody go and receive the healing.
Yes. And I do this in person also. I have an office in Encino, so I try to keep the clinic open Mondays and Tuesdays.
Mondays and Tuesdays in Encino. So that's like the San Diego area.
A little bit more up
You
towards.
tell me where. I'm not originally from California. You gotta tell me.
It's a little bit more towards the Calabasas area.
Calabasas. Okay. So the Calabasas. Oh my! I was the wrong direction. I was the wrong direction.
I
I'm
would
going north.
Yeah, I would like to be in the San Diego area, though.
I was thinking Encinitas, not Encino. Okay, now I understand. All right, so she's a little bit up north from LA if you'd like to see her in person. And someone's asking about if you do chest infections.
And I do work with animals. I love working with animals. And if you, I do animal readings and animal classes. We have one coming up on my events calendar. And I do work with other animal communicators. And I love, yes, I do chests. Yeah, I do. Yes, yes, yes. Hi, Jennifer. Hi, Lee. Oh, you have such a beautiful group.
Yeah, the energy is very sweet and kind.
And I love rose oil. I do rose oil and holy water when you come to the office.
Oh, that's good stuff. That's good stuff. Oh, it's making me think of Mother Mary energy even more. This is an interesting comment, I think, that we can spiral back to. Someone says, I've been reading about an NDE a lot, or about NDE a lot, near-death experiences. People have childhood trauma that taught them to astral project when the trauma was happening. And when they have near-death experiences, they very easily leave their bodies and know how to come back.
Okay, but listening and reading about NDE a lot of people have childhood trauma. Those are two different questions, though.
They are. So I'm thinking that she's asking about how does astral projection, or your understanding of how does that connect to your near-death experience, or leaving your body, or channeling, things like that, and that could happen with other traumas too. Do you find that it correlates?
NDEs are different than astral projecting. Yeah. So when a near-death experience is, for me, I lost consciousness and oxygen. And so that is a big near-death experience. Some NDEers don't have that. They go out of body, but they didn't actually lose consciousness with breath, where I did. Astral projection is a whole other topic. And I have astral projected before, and it's cool, especially when I'm sleeping at night. I have done that. And I do like that. That's kind of really cool. I like doing that. But it's not the same as the NDE. The NDE can cause sometimes physical issues. Like, I don't know if you guys know Daniel Brinkley. He's had 11 or 12. So him and I do a lot of speaking. We do some speaking events together. And so because of and Anita Morjani endorsed my book, and Daniel also endorsed my book. So because I've had severe NDE, I did have some unfortunate physical issues coming back. And then I had some gifts that came from it. But the astral projection is really cool to do that. And she is correct. So when I'm laying hands and healing, I astral project. So thank you for asking that.
I'm curious of, like, sometimes we get more flexibility with leaving our body. And it's interesting that you mentioned Daniel Brinkley. Someone referenced that him on the previous show. We're really all connected. But yeah, whatever comes to you as I'm talking, like, how do you feel like you have a relationship with leaving your body? Because my goodness, you've done it in so many different ways.
Yeah, I love, And I also love the guides that I do channel, which are some ascending masters. Mary, Edgar Casey comes in. There is some faith healers that come through me. I don't know if you guys want to ever look up Catherine Kuhlman. She's a very progressive faith healer, and I channel her.
Ooh, I've never heard of her. I'm gonna have to look her up.
Yeah, look her up. She was in New York City on Carnegie Hall for many years.
Catherine Coleman.
Yeah. Mary Baker Eddy is another one that I channel.
Yeah, I'm learning about your inspirations. Yeah.
Yeah. And also, I feel that many people may have had near-death experiences, many people that come to me, and they didn't even know they had one. When you talk about inner childhood wounds, I have 50% of my practice that come to me after they read The Awakening to the Fifth Dimension. They're inspired to heal the inner childhood wounds that are psychics, healers, mediums. Healing that inner childhood wound doesn't mean you're going to lose your giggle. Doesn't mean you're going to lose your funness or your childlike ways. It just means you're going to be okay with the adult. You know, it's okay to still have that youthfulness in you, but you're a little bit safer inside, and you can move to that fifth dimension and beyond, and you can handle when you do get hurt, when you feel unsafe. And so my book has a lot of exercises to heal the inner childhood wounds.
Do you feel like that's one of your missions, to help people like look into their inner child, or go to their past?
I do. I had a very, very hard childhood, and I had, well, I'm here to help people move forward. I'm in the fifth dimension, and the fifth dimension is where we're headed, and we're headed for a miraculous shift. And so whatever I can do to help people for however long I'm here. I mean, we don't know how much time any of us have. I want to help as many people as I can.
What were the biggest things within your life that have shifted when you got into this energy?
Since 2013, I would say connecting back to my mother, on the other side, and making amends with her, and having a close relationship with my mother, and meeting the most incredible man of my entire life, which was my literary agent, and him believing in me, because I never had anybody believe in me as much as him, and getting the book published, Awakening to the Fifth Dimension.
So like soul family started coming for you.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
got healing as you were given healing on an incredible level.
Yeah. And then me paying it forward to so many people that have come to visit me, and me helping them.
That's amazing. That's amazing. And do you feel like there's been certain times within your life where it's like, you're going to meet the next person? You're like, my people are still out there. My family, I haven't found them completely yet in this lifetime. They're still coming. I'm excited.
Absolutely. Just in the last 3 months, I've met such incredible people. I mean, and how I know they're my soul family is I see the infinity sign on the top of their head.
Ooh.
I'm like, there you are.
That's cool.
I see the 8, the thread of the 8, and the 8 is the infinity, which that means we've been in each other's lives in past lives. We've been reincarnated. We never die. And you're my soul family.
That's fantastic. That's fantastic. Like, I don't know if you felt like you've had I think you do, but like you've had a prevalence more so now about that, because I feel that's how it's kind of within my own life. I feel like it's sprouting out more. Before it was like not so much the case. I wouldn't say, oh, I don't feel like, the people that I meet, I'm like, oh, past lives. But now that's been more of a thing. It's been more of a thing. And for you as well, yeah?
Yes, it is. It is. Yes, definitely. Yeah.
It's like, oh, thank goodness, right? There's more to come.
Oh yeah, there's a lot more to come. It's becoming fat and it's speeding up too. It's speeding up. It's like, oh yeah, it's like, okay, this is like a cluster of a group here. And then it's like moving in and it's like May, June, July, August, and like August, September, October is going to be really heightened for a lot of us. And it's going to be in the end of summer. It's things are going to get a lot better. It's like for all of us too. It's like it's going to be moving more positive energy is going to pick up more for all of us too.
You make me
Right
feel very
away.
green. Oh, the what? What was the last thing you said?
I mean, if things are like a little sluggish right now, the way kind of things have been a little bit like, I don't know if people like abundance wise or financially, and like it's been kind of feeling a little bit maybe for people, but like around August in the summertime, it's going to pick up too.
It feels like when you were talking about that, feels very like green and abundant and
Yeah.
things of nature. And I think people really need to hear that, because a lot of people I've heard from, at least, things are feeling better. But a couple months ago and last year, they're like, what is going on? They're like, I'm drained all the time. I'm exhausted all the time. I'm still hearing that, but people are seeking that relief. So that's really great to hear that you feel that
Yeah.
around that time of the burst.
Yeah, I didn't know you didn't ask me that, but telepathically, I was thinking, I was thinking like, like, because a lot of people are going through some stress right now, mentally, emotionally, and like work, like they're laying off people, and like a lot of stuff's happening right now. And I feel like May, June, the last 6 months, like a faucet was turned off kind of a little bit, and so like, June, and July, August just feels really good, and August and it's like September, October, November. And then I know we're having the election and I don't want to get political too much right now, but I'm just feeling like there's a bit of relief going on. Even though it's going to be the election, there's still a bit of relief. It's like a bit of relief about that. Even though we're going to have it, it's a bit of relief about it because then it's going to be kind of like moving forward.
I'll take it. I'll take that exhale, right? That nice
Yeah, it's kind of like,
I'll do it.
yeah.
One quick question before we start to wrap up, because wow, it goes
Yeah,
so quick.
I know. Well, we're in the dimension.
We're in the fifth dimension. That's right. Do you believe that all physical ailments are manifestations of our daily stress?
That is a great question. Thank you, Trudy. I like her name, Trudy Angel. Oh, she can't wait till. Okay.
That as well.
That's a very good question because the guides are going to answer that for you. They are saying, I do believe that we could just be sitting. Okay, let me give you an example of that. We could just be sitting and worrying and worrying and worrying. And maybe we eat great. And so say we eat really great and we take our vitamins and we have, great relationships and we're doing everything so perfect. And then you may come on and say, I have this horrible ailment now, Kimberly. I don't know what's going on. And I'll say, well, where's your mind most of the day? Like what's going on? And they say, well, I do worry, Ward. I'm worrying, but I do everything else okay. So absolutely, yes. I do feel if you're still sitting at the office and not really paying attention, or maybe you're doing something and you don't really understand, you're stressing in your mind or you're worrying, even though you're eating great and you do your yoga and you do all these things, because if you're stressing, you are causing your cholesterol to go bad. You're raising your cortisol. So in actuality, and I have doctor friends too, because I work with both holistic and Western Eastern, you can raise your cholesterol just by stressing. And you could be thin and working out and So yes, the question is yes, yes, yes. Daily stress just by sitting here and just worrying. So they're showing me the sign of the 7 when you said that. They're saying every day when you start to hear anything negative in the mind going over, say, leave. I'm not going to stress. I'm not going to think about that because there's nothing I can do by stressing. I'm going to go into daily a meditation. I'm going to say, I'm fully and freely and willingly accepting the 5th dimension. I am love. I am light. I am peace. I'm not listening to any 3rd dimensional mind chatter. I'm leaving it behind. I am love. I am light. And just try to go into just 3-minute meditation, anything you can, but just try not to think about your worries, your fears. So thank you for asking that.
It's a beautiful question and a beautiful answer. To shift, if we can shift, we can make some changes. I love the August comment, right? Oh, someone's saying feels like a Wednesday. Oh, it kind of does actually. Now I'm thinking about it.
It does
I
feel
don't
like
know.
Wednesday. It does feel like Wednesday.
It doesn't feel like the end of the week.
Weird. It
Feels
does
like we just got here a little bit.
Courtney is so right. Sending you love, Courtney. Sending you so much love.
And Trudy, thank you for the positivity. And also with Trudy, she's okay, thank you. I've had a negative thought and then I say delete, delete, delete. Yeah, that's the right track, we say. So I always try to make sure the guests have the last word. So I want to go into that in a second, but I want to make sure that people know where to find you, like on the different platforms or events you have holding. We talked a little bit about the Mother Mary Circle. Just like, please let people know what's going on this year with you.
Thank you, Kelly, so much. Okay, so I'm at my website is called like healing. It's called The Healing, HEALING, Trilogy, TRILOGY, thehealingtrilogy.com. And to find out about booking me for sessions or my events, they're there under the events calendar. My most current event is tomorrow, the Mother Mary event. And then I have my spirit, I do little small spirit circle classes. And then I have my expo coming up next week at the San Rafael. It's close to San Francisco. I'll be in person there next week, April 18th, I think.
And you'll be like speaking and with
Yeah.
any healings or...
Thank you. Yes. For 3 days, I'll be at the New Living Expo. I'll be doing Messages from the Afterlife, a live on stage event where I'll be pulling people up from on stage and doing readings. And then I'll be doing private sessions in person up there too.
Wow. So a lot of opportunities to see you in person. And you're on Instagram, Facebook, if people want to find you too as well.
Yeah, I'm on Instagram under Kimberly Meredith. And then I'm on Facebook under Kimberly Meredith 11. And I'm on TikTok too.
Ooh, TikTok.
I know.
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, and then you can get my book pretty much anywhere on Amazon. It's called Awakening to the 5th Dimension.
Ooh, yes. I want to check that out. Please, there's so many wonderful resources Kimberly is providing. Check her out. And I'd like to ask you additionally, what is a piece of wisdom, a current inspiration, even if it's off the cuff that comes to you that you'd like to share with others before we close the show?
I just want to say that everybody deserves to have a miracle healing. And I believe that knowing the power of love through the Christ consciousness is for everybody, and everybody can have that true miracle. So God bless everybody.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we believe in miracles. Thank you so much, Kimberly Meredith, for being here with us today. Thank you, everybody, for being in the comments, whether you see us now or later with the playback. We're happy to have you. With that said, please, everybody, go with love, luck, light, and don't forget to live. Thank you again, Kimberly, for being with us here today.
Thank you so much, Kelly. You're amazing. And thank you, everybody, for listening to me. Thank you.
Back at you. Thank you, everybody. Bye.
Bye.